The Auburn Tigers took to the stage this week in Dallas for SEC Media Days. Let's talk about it on this edition of the Uptempo Podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Let's go. What is up, Auburn family? Good morning. Hope everybody is having a good weekend. Dustin Smith and Blake Lane here with you. Talk a little Auburn at the SEC Media Days. Blake, is the storm just continues to go on in the background. If you have thunder popping in your ears, I do apologize for that. Oh my goodness, the whole house is shaking, bro. But Blake, how are you doing, my guy, this morning?
I'm doing well, man. It's the same over here in Mobile. It's rough, and if you're in the Mobile, Pensacola Panhandle area, stay safe on the roads. And look, man, we're getting closer. We're getting closer. I think everybody that follows this podcast, they're excited about the Auburn football season. I think Hugh Freeze and the guys represented Auburn very well. I like what Hugh Freeze had to say. I know, we got a couple of clips that we're going to show the folks, and it's almost here, man. Like we're almost a month away, and you got to be excited. And from what Hugh said, it got me a little bit even, more on edge and ready to go. I was feeling it. So we're almost there, man. Just keep chugging along, and it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Once we get to SEC Media Days, you kind of start getting that itch. Like, all right, bro, it's real next month. I had to look at the high school schedule this weekend because it's time to start figuring out what games we're going to be going to. And those are 3 weeks, month away, depending on where you're at. So we're making it, guys. We're making it. We're almost there. Like Blake said, we do have some clips we're going to play from Hugh Freeze. But I just want to kind of second what Blake was talking about there. I think that Payton Thorne, Keldric, Faulk, and Eugene all did an excellent job. Eugene was electric all day Thursday, just kind of bringing that personality, showing what he's all about. And then Keldric, more of a definitely tell he's more soft-spoken, quiet guy. But we all know what it means for a true sophomore like that. To get that opportunity to go up there and speak, I think he did a great job. And I'll say, this is not a knock on Elijah McAllister, but we all knew last year some of the guys we took, you're taking them just because they weren't going to say the wrong thing and they could speak good, right? Cam Stutz and all that. This year you brought guys that you're expecting to really contribute and be big-time players for you. And on top of that, they kind of showed the ability to handle the media well, control the narrative, not say anything crazy, which is all you want to do if you're Auburn in this situation. I think the national perception of Auburn right now really isn't going to change too much. There's not a whole lot anybody can say to really change it. I think that my hope is that just people kind of seeing Keldric Faulk and hearing his name will allow them to investigate him and find out what his game is really all about. Because I don't know if too many people know him yet outside of Auburn. So that's kind of my hope that'll come out of that. But all in all, man, I think they did a really good job. And man, like I said, just let's keep flying on the radar. Here's my takeaways from what came out of SEC Media Days this week. The only thing that you got heard about Auburn was everybody kept saying how hard it is to play at our stadium. So, which they talk about every year at SEC Media Days. Maybe the people over at EA should tune in and listen to that. But it's funny, man. I mean, you've been playing the game. It's tough to play in Auburn in the game. It's just the ranking of 14, and we all thought was a little low. Before we get in here and get this thing started, Blake, I do wanted to shout out to the members, and we told our members in the member chat, but we know not all of y'all are on social media. There was some content that we worked on and tried to put it out, and it doesn't appear like we're going to be able to do that due to some copyright issues and stuff. So we are aware that it's been a week or two since any member pods have dropped for you guys. So I will get back on it. We got other ideas. It's nothing but a thing. Definitely will get some stuff pumped out for you guys this week. And Blake, like I mentioned, man, we've got high school football coming right around the corner. Me and you are going to be covering games, going to be at these games, getting highlights and all kind of stuff like that, coming in and breaking down what we see. We had an awesome time doing it last year, figured out a lot. We really got a good plan for attacking it this year. If people are on the fence about this membership, Blake, what else could they get, brother?
Man, look, you're going to get the gameplay with you. It started up right here, right now on the varsity squad. You saw Dustin and I the other night. We got on the sticks and we played a little game, and hopefully we can get some of you on here and we can do a live episode with, a fan, a random fan. That might be a giveaway or something that we could possibly do. Watch the film Auburn Baseball. I want to highlight this. Auburn baseball has been in the portal, folks. If you're an Auburn baseball fan, there's some things that I want to touch on here in the next couple of weeks before the guys get back to school. They get back to the baseball facility and getting after it, right? The game day group chat growing every day on that varsity squad for $5.99 a month. We're on Twitter. We're having a great time, just talking about anything and everything, talking about life, praying for each other, praying for guys that you might work with or anything like that. Look, we're talking about just life, and we're having a fun time doing it. I feel like each of y'all are part of my family now. So, as Dustin said, the recruiting update videos on the varsity squad. It's been a minute. We had some things, a little flashback of Auburn that we were going to do, and it just didn't work out. So the JV squad, hey, if you just want to be a part of the family, that's there for you. We do make some member videos available to JV squad. So if you're interested in the $3.99 a month, get after it. We just appreciate each and every one of you that have joined us. We thank you, honestly.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah, man. Like you said, I'm with everybody. It's just kind of getting to know all you guys in the group chat and becoming friends. It's really been a good experience. And like we said, we almost said we about to start having some ball to talk about.
Yeah.
Blake. We're having some ball. All right, man. Let's get right into it, Blake. The first clip that I want to bring up at Hugh Freeze's press conference was, and got asked a question about offensive line, and I liked his answer. He gave a pretty detailed offensive line, and
Yep.
I guess before we play it, he said, hey, I think Auburn just kind of wanted to get out of here without making any noise. But if we harken back to last year, and we remember Hugh Freeze kind of let us know, I'm worried about wide receiver. He didn't come flat out and say, all wide receivers stink. They suck and they're going to be able to get it done. But he said, but you could kind of listen to what he was saying and kind of follow where his head was. Okay. So just kind of keep that in mind when we listen to some of his comments.
Offensive line last year, much improved in the portal, but what was the thought on adding him at left tackle? And then secondly, the improvement of Connor Lew, who played some last year but showed a lot of potential at center.
Connor Lew is already a leader. I think he's a phenomenal football player and young man, and I think he's an NFL center. So we're excited about him and the snaps he had last year as a freshman. Obviously, he did really, really well. Percy, you can't get enough tackle bodies in this league, and it allows us the freedom to move D. Wade inside, where I think he's going to play at the next level and be more naturally fit. So fun to be around Percy too. He's got one of the best sense of humors. He's from a down home country place like me, and I mean, I tell people all the time one of the funniest stories is in his recruitment. Obviously, there's a lot of things that you talk about in a short amount of time with transfer guys, but he told our assistant O-line coach, the only thing I've got to have to make sure this is finalized and this is where I'm coming is a spigot. And my assistant O-line coach had no clue. Of course, I'm from country. I knew exactly what he meant, and I said, you tell him we'll find him a place with a spigot because he loves to wash his car. I mean, he's that kind of guy, and glad we have him and allows us to move D. Wade inside, and need Tyler Johnson to come on and be that swing guy for both tackles and some of the young guys to develop. Tate Johnson's another one that will get a lot of rotation, and he can play all three in the middle.
Blake, first off, if all it takes to get a starting left tackle of SEC caliber is a spigot, then on to victory should be cooking, bro. Hell, I'll go bring him 20 spigots tomorrow. What are your thoughts on what you had to say there about the O-line, brother?
First off, look, that how do we not know what that is? I guess, I guess city life's a little different. But, look, the kid, he might wash his car. He might love to wash his car, but we all grew up drinking out that thing. All right.
Right.
You go outside, you don't come back in until the street light comes on. All right. And the only way to get some water was out the spigot. So, yeah, man, I love the state of Alabama. It's great. State of Mississippi, Florida. We're all just a bunch of country folks, man. We love it. But Hugh, my thoughts on what he had to say is he basically outlined one of the biggest portal additions and helping your offensive line. And he says again, D. Wade gets to move inside. He gets to play guard where that's his natural position. That's where he's going to be best at. That's where he's going to play at the next level. So you boosted your offensive line by going and getting an elite transfer portal addition, one of the best, one that me and Dustin have highlighted that it's probably the biggest addition to Auburn's roster. You could throw Keandre Lambert-Smith in there. But like Hugh said, having a left tackle in this league, right tackle in this league, if you don't, you're not going to win games. It's just, we all know the SEC is one at the line of scrimmage. And he laid out a couple of guys that are going to be in rotation. And Connor Lew, your leader, he's going to lead. He's a guy that's going to play in the NFL. He's a guy that's going to be comfortable with Payton at center. They got snaps together last year. I think there's experience on the O-line. You're really looking for the O-line to be much better than it was last year. I can't knock the O-line from last year. I think they did pretty dang good for the hand they were dealt. Like, they were thrown into the fire. There were some guys from the lower level that come from G5 to P5, and I think that they did as well as they could for what they had to go through. So can't knock them, but this year you expect, just what off of Hugh is saying here, I expect them to be much, much better. Because there were some games that we got dominated up front. Like a Texas A&M. You can't get dominated by Texas A&M at the line of scrimmage again this year, folks. Can't happen. It can't. We have to be better. And I think adding Percy was a huge, not only for Auburn. I think if you look at really the conference and what one player could do for a team, I think it's that type of addition to this roster. And I liked what Hugh had to say about he feels the roster got better. And so my thing with that, Dustin, is if you say something like that, you won 6 games last year. You ended up losing your bowl game. You go 6-7. Now that you think your roster is better, you can't repeat what happened last year. Because if you think your roster is better, that means you think you're going to win more games. So we got to see it happen. We got to put it on the field. I think Hugh is a great speaker at the mic. I think he does a great job captivating the room. And he gets me excited for football, man. And like he said, he's a small country dude, small town guy. And I think he gets along with the guys. And I think they respond to him. I think they get where he's coming from. So I like everything he had to say about the offensive line.
You know, I'm going to say this, and I want everybody to hear me. Do not get upset. Okay, we're just talking football here. Just from a football standpoint. I'm not talking about as a person. I never wish this on anybody. From a football standpoint, it kind of feels like Avery Jones getting hurt last year was a blessing in disguise for Auburn. Look, he wasn't seriously injured. He's living his life. He's okay, right? So, again, I'm not wishing that he got hurt on the football field. But it gave Connor Lew the ability to come in as a true freshman and kind of show like I was a better option anyway. But also like now he's got that, you know, starting experience under his belt, that second half of an SEC season. And I think that it kind of gives us all the confidence now. Like if we were coming into this year, because I mean, we were here in the coaching staff day one of Lou being on the practice field saying he's that guy. We would be feeling good about him being the starting center, but him having that half of a season and us actually seeing it and knowing what it is, I just think that it's kind of one of those things that in the moment when it happens, you hate it and it sucks. And it's like, all right, now we're going down to our backup and we're dropping the starters. And how much better does it make you in the moment? But the true freshman kind of takes his lumps, learns some things. And then now he's ready to roll. And like Hugh said, he thinks he's an NFL center. Hugh's not going to stand up there and just say that. You know, he didn't say that. Like I said before, play the clip. He didn't say anybody in our wide receiver core last year was going to the NFL. So Connor Lew's a special talent. And when you talk about our problems with Texas A&M, I'm hopeful, Blake, that we plucked the main issue away from Texas A&M as why we couldn't move the ball against them with a line of scrimmage and getting DJ Durkin over here because we just could not move the ball versus DJ Durkin
Yep.
for nothing, bro, for nothing. So it's for pretty much his entire time at A&M. So, I'm gonna play this next clip, and then I'm gonna kind of expand my thoughts on the offensive line because this kind of plays into it.
Yep.
And shout out to our guy Joseph Goodman over at AL.com for asking a football question.
Yep.
When I heard his name pop up before he asked this question, I got scared, guys. Like all of y'all, I got ready for the oh boy, here it comes. But actually got a question that Hugh gave a solid answer to. So let's play the clip.
It will stay in that same section about 3/4 of the way back.
Hugh, Joe Goodman, AL.com. What is going to be Auburn's #1 strength this season?
I would hope it's our run game. We return a lot of experienced offensive linemen, and that running back room and tight ends are really solid, and our quarterbacks can run it enough that it makes people have to worry about that also. So you would hope it's that, because when you can do that, you have a little control over the clock and the game and kind of how things are going. So it may be me wishing that and hoping that, but I like our running back room, and I like our O-line and our tight ends. So hopefully it's that, which, as you know, will hopefully lead to some explosive pass plays also because of us being effective in running the ball. But that's probably what I would say should be our strength with the guys we have returning.
Yeah, so it just kind of sounds like Hugh believes in this offensive line. He kind of believes in the addition of Percy Lewis, like he talked about in the previous clip we played, moving Dylan Wade inside. He just kind of feels more comfortable with him there. Xavier Miller taking that next step, and I'm with him on our QBs. Payton Thorne in particular, like he can move a little bit, man. Now I don't want him to have 500 rushing yards like he did last year, but if he can be around 300 and just be effective doing that RPO, and obviously the offensive line plays a big part in that. So if we just kind of take a step back to when Hugh Freeze took over, we all knew the state that the Auburn offensive line was in. It was all we talked about. We had wasted Tank Bigsby. We're wasting Jarvis Hunter. We can't get it right. We're coming into the second season of Hugh Freeze's tenure here at Auburn, and he's at SEC Media Days confidently standing up there saying, I think the strength of our team is going to be the offensive line, is going to be our running game. And, you said something before when we were playing the clips talking about how the discussion was going to go before we hit record. And you just said, damn it, this is Auburn, and we should be able to run the football.
Facts.
So, when I hear all that, man, it gets me excited because we all know that is all we've discussed Payton Thorne ad nauseum this summer, like everybody has. Well, what's going to help him out? A solid run game will put him in position to protect the football, to make the right reads. And we know that the continuity of the staff with Derek Nix and Hugh Freeze and just all that. And the schedule, Blake. You've got 4 games, man. You've got 4 games at home where you should be able to establish that running game. Get everybody confident, get PT confident. We should not have to throw the ball to beat Alabama A&M, Cal, New Mexico, or Arkansas. So you should be 4-0 with a nice touchdown to interception ratio, a nice completion percentage, and you should be have a good yard per carry. You should have a nice average yard per carry. Like the offense should be flowing when you finally face a team that, you're going to be an underdog versus most likely. We'll see how Oklahoma plays the week before Tennessee and all that. But it all kind of sets up for this offense to when you get into that first part of the season where things start to get tough.
Yep.
And when you mentioned last year kind of being a struggle at times, it's because you threw together guys from Tulsa and Western Kentucky and all. Like you had a JUCO guy in there. The starter from ECU goes out, so the true freshman comes in. Everyone knows continuity is really important on the O-line. These guys got another year under Jake Thornton, another year together, I think, and then Percy Lewis booking you over there at the tackle, Connor Lew holding things down in the middle. I just like where it's at. Like it's when we kick that ball off August 31st, it's the most comfortable I will have been in Auburn's offensive line in a very long time. Still got to go out there and make it all happen. But as we look at it today, dude, I feel good about it, man. And if this offensive line can play up to its potential, then for the first time in at least 5 or 6 years, the receivers, the quarterbacks, and the running backs, the rest of Auburn's offense will not be suffering because of Auburn's offensive line. That'll be a nice problem to finally have eliminated from us. And then we can figure out because sometimes, dude, I feel like we haven't even been able to figure out, are these receivers any good? Is this quarterback any good? We didn't know if Bo Nix was any good until he went to Oregon and got drafted in the top 20 of the first round, because we never had the time to find out if he was good. Maybe now we'll have the time to find out if these guys can actually make plays on the outside, dude.
Yeah, one thing I want to touch on is Hugh Freeze saying, hey, hopefully the run game is our strength. Can Hugh Freeze run the ball? That's been a question his entire coaching career, because we know he loves to throw it. But Hugh Freeze is going to run the rock this year at Auburn. It's going to happen. I think that's what we're going to lean on. It's Auburn's bread and butter. Like you said, Dustin, before we hit record, it's who we are. It's who we are as a university, as a football program. You got 3 guys back there. You got a 3-headed monster. Totem. All right. Let them lead you to the well, because they can do it. Now the offensive line, too tall. He's been getting praise from PT. PT said, hey, guy's working his tail off. The guy is taking a step. I'm super impressed with him. Your quarterback is giving your O-line love. Didn't really hear that last year a whole lot. You didn't hear the positivity coming out of the quarterback room. You didn't hear any of that. All right. My thing with PT running the ball is I don't need you to do what you did last year. I just need you to just show it every once in a while that, hey, it might be let's 3rd and 3 pocket collapses. Hey, get up and get out of there and slide. All right. Give me 5 yards and get down. That's all I need. I don't need you taking off for 60 yards against Georgia and all that. We got the playmakers on the outside and everything. Protect the football and let's lean on the run game, because I do like what Auburn's put together on the offensive line. And it is your bread and butter. It's what you've been known for. It's what you always will be known for, is running the tater. So we're here. We're here. Can Hugh Freeze do it? Can Derek Nix do it? Is that what we're going to lean on? Because the numbers say, Dustin, the numbers say throughout his career he hasn't been able to do it. But I believe this year that you got to. You got to. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, what about the receivers hitting the transfer portal? Look, if Bryce Kane and Malcolm Simmons don't get the touches and hit the transfer portal, I think there may be something else going on, but I don't think that's how these guys operate. I don't think that's why they come to Auburn. I think there's more of a bigger picture than just this year, because I hear that from a lot of people. Well, how are you going to keep all 4 of those receivers happy? Yeah, you had a great recruiting class, but how are you going to get 1 of them? 2 of them's going to transfer. Let's hold off on that. Just because we run the rock this year, let's hold off on receivers wanting to transfer out of this class that we just brought in. I don't believe in that. So yeah, Dustin, I think we're running the tater, son. I think we're getting after it on the ground. Jarquez, hey, he might be quiet and he might be reserved, and that's how some people are different when they lead. Some people are like that. Some people like to kind of hang out a different way and then show themselves on the field. And I'm fine with that, but I think Jarquez could have a huge year and he could be the leader of this team. And, Damari, we'll get into that in a minute. I think he could be a great leader, a vocal leader, and Jeremiah Cobb, even though you're a young guy, put it on the field in the receiving game and show us what you got. So that's where I'm at, Dustin.
Yeah, when we talk about Jarquez, I go back to the fireside that he did last year with the boys over the War Report, and they asked every player that did the fireside about their why, and all of them had really good personal reasons. You know what Jarquez said? I like playing football.
Yeah.
He said, you know what my why is because I like it. And that was my favorite answer. Like everybody had great answers, super inspirational answers, but he said, because I like playing football. He's a football guy, man. He doesn't, he's never going to be at media days and none of that kind of stuff. He wants to get on his horse, ride through the country, and play a little ball, bro. That's our Jarquez. So I think he's got a big year coming. To your point about wide receivers, I don't think that all four of those guys were promised the same thing.
Exactly.
I think that Cam Coleman was told something like, hey, man, you're going to be the guy day one. I think Perry Thompson was told, hey, you got a quick path to getting on the field and getting early playing time pretty fast. Yep. And then maybe Malcolm Simmons and Bryce Cain weren't necessarily told that.
Yep.
So, and when you bring in guys like Robert Lewis and Lambert Smith, I don't think that that was hidden from Bryce Cain and Malcolm Simmons. They were probably told during their recruitment, hey guys, we're losing a lot of senior receivers this year, and we bring you guys in. We think y'all are going to be the future, but we got to bring in some other guys out of the portal, some veterans to kind of bridge that gap. So we're not just depending heavily on 4 freshman wide receivers. Like I don't know if they were sold. I don't know if they were sold like a lie. And then, as we were sitting here talking about leaning on the running game and everything, here's the question that just kind of popped into my head, and I wish somebody would have asked it of Hugh Freeze. I haven't really heard it asked a whole lot this offseason. What's the tempo going to look like? I've kind of just envisioned as we go back to Hugh Freeze calling plays and Hugh Freeze running the offense that the tempo is going to pick up from what it was last year. But I listened to these comments about you saying you still think the running game is going to be the strength of the team. I think he mentioned something about time of possession right there, and the answer, controlling the ball, controlling the clock, which I love that as a strategy. And I still think you're going to be young over there on defensive side, so you might have to try to do that sometimes. But I think we could all agree that we want to see the tempo pick up some. And it's just a question because Hugh Freeze historically will go up tempo. He'll go quick. But then you listen to those comments there, and it kind of makes you wonder. So I don't know the answer to that. It's going to be something that I'm very intrigued to see as the season goes on. I hope it's a nice balance. I hope it's a nice balance of there are times to do it and there are times to not. And I hope that we kind of find that and that Hugh can really just get in his bag, find his groove, call and plays. Blake, before we get in here and play these last 2 clips, it's not necessarily golf weather today, but if it was golf weather, and it will be again soon, where can people go to get some good golf gear, brother?
Get on that vansaintgolf.com, and there it is right there, vansaintgolf.com. You get 15% off using code UPTEMPO. Just go check them out. Look, they got great shirts, the hats, all that good stuff. If you like some soft material while you're playing golf in this hot weather, ridiculously hot weather, go check them out. They got some great prices, in my opinion, affordable and some good material. Like I said, it's soft. It's very breezy. You just flows right, and that's what you want when you're playing golf. I don't want nothing thick on me that I can't get no air through there and all that good stuff. Because look, when you get out on that golf course, it's hot, and the cart girls, they don't come around quick enough. So it's sometimes it's a struggle. If you don't get enough beer or whatever you like to drink, the first go, it could be a minute before she circles back, and it's hot out there. So go check out vansaintgolf.com.
Yeah, for sure, man. Y'all help us out. Go check them out. All right. I'm going to get some comments real quick, and we got 2 more clips we want to play before we get out of here. But you guys are in the chat, and we see you. Kingsley says, I wish they would let you bring your OC and DC to media days. I think that's just a timing thing. You're already getting players up there. The head coach is kind of already talking. I would imagine coordinators most times will probably just say the same thing that the coach is kind of saying. And then Devin says, I'm taking my son to see Auburn baseball when they come here in Texas in February. Cannot wait. Let's go, Devin. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really fired up for Auburn to be playing a little fall ball versus Florida State right here in my hometown and my ballpark. Dude, it's going to be a good time. Yeah, it's going to be great, man. Out there on the Bay. No way with all the improvements that we are worse than 8 wins should be possible for up to 10. You know, Josh Pate always says Auburn, Dad, and I hear you. It's just something to think about. He always says, yeah, maybe your team got better. Did the teams on your schedule get better? Because everyone's trying to make improvements. So we'll see. I definitely do believe there should be no reason that Auburn should not have a better record than last year. Like none. So I do agree with you on that. It just would be hard to not see some kind of improvement to the win total. Daniel, yes, sir. Good news that Batiste was able to walk with a cane. Brian Batiste still fighting, Blake.
Yeah, man. I think this is just this is God, man. This is a kid that wasn't done with life yet, and it's just unfortunate. He lost his brother and his family. We're praying for you. Just keep fighting, man. Just keep sometimes they tell you that you're never going to be able to do something again. And, prayer's real. Prayer's real. God is real. And it's something that he's a dog, man. He's a hard worker, and he got it out the mud right here. And he's back up and being able to take those steps. It's a huge improvement. And we're still praying for you. And it's bigger than football at this point. So we love it. 2-1, and he's still in our hearts, man.
Yeah, for sure. Keep fighting, Brian. We love you, buddy. Auburn Dad says, country folks can't survive. You damn right. You damn right. Devin says she agrees with Blake. Hugh will shoot you straight and get you pumped up for football. Yep. Absolutely. Daniel says, what is up with McPherson? He has an intestinal issue. He's having some stomach issues. He's losing weight. He still hasn't been cleared to play. Yep. And as we get closer to the season and the fall practice starting, you kind of get worried about that, man. So not only for his health, obviously we hope that he's okay. And I've actually had surgery on my intestines twice that your stomach can change your life, bro, when it gets messed up. So pulling for him, hope that he's going to be okay and be ready for the season. But it is it's dragging on here, Daniel. So that making that recruitment of Towns Magoo looking all the more important.
Hey, what about Towns Magoo in the 8A game? How does that make you feel?
Right.
I think that's something that look. We talk about 8A games; they might go unnoticed, and it might be a scrimmage and a controlled scrimmage and all that stuff. But this is looking pretty important right now with everything that's going on. So huge recruitment to get him to stay home at Auburn, and then what he done on 8A is looking like it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. Kingsley Moore with a very, very interesting point here that I agree with. Says, I think we need to work on the passing game in those first 4 games. I don't think we need to run it 50 times, even if the run game is working like we did during the Gus tenure. And I couldn't agree with you more. Don't do it to the detriment of making the game close. Come out, establish the run early, kind of set up your offense, get a nice lead. So you can kind of play around with some things. But yeah, I totally agree with you. If you're up 35 to 10 or something like that, coming into out of halftime versus Alabama A&M, what is giving the ball to Damari 15 times in the second half, or Jeremiah or Sean Jack? What does any of that accomplish? And I know that you're still going to want to run the ball, get out there and all that, but you got to – I'm with you, Kingsley. Come in there and throw the ball around because, this is just one of them things that it just drives me nuts. And I get it. But you got to worry about your team. So if you're up big and you still think you need to worry about – you want to work on the passing game, it's up to them to stop. You're paying, if we're taking the week 1 scenario, you're paying Alabama A&M to come and get their ass kicked. Now you paid New Mexico State to do that, and they didn't comply. But you're paying them to come in, man, and it'd be a preseason type game, especially week 1 an FCS opponent. So I'm with you. If you're up 35, 45 to 10, but you've only got 12, 13 passing attempts, let's go in there and throw that thing 4 or 5 times that next drive. Let's get this stuff worked out. Let's get Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson and Lambert Smith and Robert Lewis, all these new additions, man. Let's get them comfortable with PT. Like I said, you got a 4-game cushion to work on this. I couldn't agree with you more, Kingsley. You got a 4-game cushion. Get that passing game worked out, and then turn your attention to Oklahoma, and hopefully you have the offense running at full steam there. All right. We got 2 more clips we're going to play here. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, share this thing out on social media for us. The next clip we're going to play is Hugh Freeze was asked about Damari Alston. I chose to play this one because me and Blake have talked a whole lot about Jeremiah Cobb, and everyone kind of knows what Jarquez Hunter's expected to do, but Damari's a dog now. Damari's a dog, and he's definitely going to contribute to the team this year.
Whoever told you that is absolutely correct. That a family and a young man and being able to work with them over the course
the back
of
end of another question. I apologize
so that
for
he
this.
reaches his potential as a player and as a student and as a man.
Coach, we'll go over to our right-hand side on this near aisle.
Coach Freeze, Philip Dukes from On 3. I wanted to ask you about the development of Damari Alston and what he means to the running back room.
Number one, when you said his name, the first word that pops in my mind is leader. 2 times now he's been elected to the Culture Council unanimously. He has wisdom for a young man, and so you combine that with he's a dang good running back too. I love our running back room. You know, I'm fine with nobody talking about them. I really am, but I mean Jarquez and Damari and Cobb, I think are 3 really, really good backs, and Damari's kind of the leader of that group, truthfully. I know Jarquez but Jarquez is a very quiet, and I love that about him, but he works his tail off. Damari, if you need something to be said to the team or something from that room, it would come from him, and people would listen. And by the way, our prayers are still with Brian Battie and his family as he's still recovering from his incident that happened this summer.
So, Blake, what I hear and everything that we played today is a whole lot of talk about quarterback because everybody wants to talk about quarterback. But this Auburn team is going to go as the run game goes, man. And looking particularly at Damari Alston, just kind of talk about how important his leadership is, and then we still expect some on-the-field production this year, huh?
Yeah, I still feel like he's gonna play. I think he's gonna tote the rock for Auburn. I think he's gonna get big time carries, important carries. Yeah, he's a leader, right? And that's what I was kind of talking about. Is people lead in different ways. Damari might be the vocal guy out at practice, like, hey, get it together, let's go. You know, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. Let's pick it up. All right. Where Jarquez might be the soft-spoken guy in the back a little bit, might want to, just talk on the field. You know, there's different ways guys lead. I think between the tackles, Damari and Jarquez are going to be big for Auburn. I think Damari, I told you the other night on the game. All right, I know it's a video game, but when I get down inside that red zone, I like handing that thing to Damari. All right, he's just he's that guy. If you remember back to the Cal game, all right, I know it was early in the season last year, but Damari was toting that thing, and he got rocked, and I think that kind of had a little change in the season. Then A&M happened, and he just kind of got beat up. If he can stay healthy this year, I think you're going to see some positive things out of Damari Alston, and just you got a 3-headed monster. Yeah, people want to keep talking, about Payton Thorne, but let's give this running back room the love. Nobody, like you said, nobody wants to talk about them, but they're stacked. And you would have had another one if Brian Battie was healthy and that accident didn't happen. So they would be even deeper. It's a talented room. It's a talented room. I think that's why we have to lean on that room this year. We have to say, hey, we gotta run the rock. I know we got Cam Coleman out there. We got Dre and all that stuff. We got Robert Lewis out there. The wide receiver is great. We're gonna throw the ball. They're gonna get their shots. But one thing I don't want to see this year is 3rd and 1, and we're throwing a slant to Jay Fair. All right, I think that's where it's going to be a little different this year. All right, we're going to have some different play calls this year. It's just frustrating seeing that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like last year, you're 3rd and 1. You're in the 3rd and 1, and you're in the gun, and you sling a slant to a guy that's 5'10", 170 pounds. We need a discussion. We need to have a talk when you got a Jarquez Hunter and a Damari Alston and a Jeremiah Cobb in the backfield. So that's where I'm at with that, man. I think Damari is going to play a big role, not only in the locker room, but on the field. Stay healthy. And I think you could have the possibility of having a big year, man.
If you want to see Auburn fans lose their mind, throw a goal line fade at the 2-yard line. Throw a slant route on 3rd and 1. It's just like, dog, you expect me to act like Bo Jackson and Cadillac Williams and all these people didn't come through here. Turn around and hand the ball off and get the yard. And if you can't get the yard, then maybe go and recruit some people that can get enough push for you to get a damn yard.
Yep.
And, it's definitely been frustrating. When you we're just kind of talking about Damari, we played all the clips today. It sounds like Auburn's still going to be running the ball a lot. Our guy Mike G's been reporting, and he's been talking to the people involved. Still going to be a lot of 12 personnel this year. So I think that it's important to have 3 backs that can all kind of do 3 different things. Like, I don't look at any one of their games and say this is too similar to the other guys. They all bring a different element. So obviously the defense having to prepare for that's tough. But if we're going to run the ball this much, we need 3 healthy guys.
Facts.
You're going to need 3 guys to contribute, because I'll tell you what, boy, if you've been playing old EA College Football 25, you will find out that wear and tear on the running backs adds up, baby. It'll add up. I lost mine for the year giving them the ball too much. But in all seriousness, you got to have, in today's day and age, you got to have a stable of running backs. You want to keep them all fresh throughout the year. And so when you go into the Iron Bowl week 12, you got a couple of running backs that are still healthy, still ready to roll. And like I said, they do different things, man. So I'm really excited about the run game this year. I think it's going to be the best Auburn's been at running the ball consistently over 12 games in a long time.
And Dustin, look, I know we're talking about a video game and everything, but look, what we're trying to say is, like, inside of the red zone, where Auburn the past couple of years has really struggled. We drive the field, we drive the 20s, right? But once we get inside that red zone, we really struggle. But now you've got a guy like Cobb that can come out of the backfield. You saw him last year, his touchdowns in the red zone, coming out of the backfield, catching the football out of the backfield. You got Damari, who's a bruiser. You got Jarquez, who's a bruiser. You see things like that. That could help Auburn in those situations where you do drive the length of the field. You go on a 10, 11, 12 play drive, and once you get inside the red zone, you stall. You stall. Why? Because your offensive line might not be that great, which it hasn't been for Auburn. 2, quarterback play hasn't been up to par. Wide receiver play, 3, hasn't been up to par. And your running backs, can they be healthy? Jarquez had things go on last year. He missed a game. It looked like it affected him on the field. Speed, it looked like it took Jarquez till about week 6, 7 to get back right. Yeah. That might have been me, but he looked different last year. Looked like there was some effect that he had. It was tricky. It was funny. Damari got beat up last year. There's things that factored in. Obviously, the play calling. I didn't want to really go there, but the play calling, everything like that. But there's things that factored into Auburn struggling in the red zone. And I think if you got 3 backs that you can lean on this year, an improved offensive line from Hugh Freeze's point of view, and you got talented playmakers on the outside and a quarterback that you believe in, hopefully we see the good side of things this year with Payton Thorne. And I think you have a chance to be better. Everybody wants to talk about, can Auburn win 8 games? Can Auburn win 9, 10 games? I think you have a chance to be better. I think you have the potential on your roster now. Like you said, our roster got better. I think you have guys that, yes, it did improve, and there will be opportunities for Auburn to not have happen what went down last year. Like, that was embarrassing. Let's be honest. You had a chance to go 8-4 last year, and you fumbled the bag. It was embarrassing. It can't happen again this year.
Yeah, we go back to that moment when we were 6-4 after Arkansas. It definitely felt like a decent season was in front of us, and then you lose 3 straight, and just 3 games that you really, 2 of them you should have won outright, and then the Bama game, like, yes, you were the underdog, but we all know what happened there. So yeah, 3 games at Auburn. Definitely, if you would have finished strong, you would have had a different year. You got Trevor over here.
I tried, man. I tried.
Daniel asked, is Hugh calling plays this year? Yeah, man, we believe so. Look, he's going to come out here in the public and say it's going to be a collaborative effort and all this kind of stuff. He said that last year. There was a lot of coach speak going on last year. You kind of tell that there was dysfunction going on between him and Phillip if you just watch the games. And Hugh still didn't really was still trying to be, I guess, not trying to throw Phil under the bus and keep it all professional. It was a weird thing. So yeah,
it got to that point.
Yeah,
it got to that point. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, for sure. But the main thing here, Daniel, is my understanding of the situation is there was a clause in Derek Nix's contract that Auburn would have to pay a certain amount of money, and it wasn't like chump change. It wasn't $5,000, nothing. It was a decent amount. It's like a buyout clause in Derek Nix's contract that he couldn't leave Ole Miss to go take the same position at another school unless he was calling plays. There had to be some kind of upgrade in his position. So Auburn came out and said, Derek Nix is going to be calling plays. But if you remember, before that hire happened, Hugh had put out, I say Hugh, but ESPN had put out an article about a week before saying Hugh would be calling plays. Somebody at Auburn or whatever, like that discussion was had between Hugh and the reporter or whoever it was for ESPN to put that article out. And then the narrative kind of changed when that situation with Derek Nix arose. I just say all that, Daniel, kind of trying to let you know where some of that is. And I'm not saying Derek Nix won't have input, but I feel like this year, and I know Blake does as well, that it's going to be whatever Hugh Freeze wants, first, second, and third down.
Yeah, at media days, he said that him, Nix, and Kent, which he's speaking in Kent Austin, great quarterback guru, quarterback coach, they're all going to have great input. And I think he said, like on third downs, Kent has like a big time play calling. Like there's things that he brings up on third down that are like, hey, so if you listen to Hugh, I think there's chemistry. We were talking about, well, everybody was like, why Derek Nix? Why Derek Nix? Well, look, they're familiar with each other. They worked together previously. I think that's kind of what Hugh was looking for, right? Is you want a guy that you know what he's about. Hey, you know what I like, I know what you like. And now we got 3 people in the room that are on the same page. You don't have a guy out here that's switching things up on a Thursday and then your head coach walk in and say, all right, what are we doing here? Like, why is this completely different? We're 2 days away from game day, and we're switching what we want to do on offense. The whole scheme looks completely different. That can't happen this year. It can't. And if it does, then there's some conversations that need to be put in motion, because it can't look as bad as it did last year. We're Auburn football. Like, I don't care what other fan bases say or what you see on Twitter. Like Hugh Freeze said at media days, Auburn has won. They've played in 2 national championship games since 2010. This program can win. I don't care what anybody else tells you. This program is top 15 in the country. This program is respected around the country. And we got to get back to that. We got to start winning games. And that's where we're at. It's got to be a full effort from this coaching staff down to the players and even at the fans. Like, fans, we're going to show up. We're going to show up. We're going to give it our best. But it's got to be different. It can't be the abysmal effort at the bowl game like last year. It just can't look like that, Dustin.
Yeah, no, that's why guys like Damari Alston, Keldric, Faulk, and we hear all this talk in the off season, so we're looking at you guys to kind of make sure that locker room stays in check. I need that same Rivaldo fair weather that was in the post game after the Music City Bowl. That's the attitude these guys got to have.
What about Eugene coming out on Twitter yesterday? He said, "Hey, QB1's about to show the world." Is something different happening in that Auburn locker room? Is there something different going on this year? You didn't see those tweets last year. You didn't see things like that, man. You didn't. There wasn't this kind of confidence spewing out to me last year. Now, I thought we were going to win 8 games, and we had the opportunity to, but it just looked abysmal on the field. It looked terrible. But when I see the players last year, you didn't see those tweets. You didn't see those type of things being posted. You didn't see pictures of guys hanging out on social media. You didn't see pictures of guys working together on Instagram. Could things be different, Dustin?
Well, I think one part of that is I think that you got some of the bad apples out. And not ever, me and you know some things that not everybody else knows, but you have to trust me and Blake here. A lot of those names are not on the team anymore. And then the coaching situation was kind of public, on the defensive side. So you can just kind of look at that. So yeah, I think that I think you have a team that is more together. I think that everybody that they brought in the last 2 classes is bought in, especially the freshmen from this last class. I think that they, and I think that has a big part to do with it too. If you're an upperclassman, if you're Camden Brown, for example, and then Perry Thompson, Bryce Kane, Malcolm Simmons, and Cam Coleman show up on campus and they're working their ass off every day, what are you going to do if you're Cam Brown? You have no choice. You either hit the portal or you respond and fight for your job. Now, shout out to Cam Brown, who we all thought was going to hit the portal, for responding, coming in, and he looked solid during A-Day. We heard he had a good spring. Can he put it together on this field, on the field this year? We all hope so. So I think that's part of it too, Blake, is just that, like, these young guys come in and they want it. So they're going to come take your spot. Like, I'm not saying that like a guy like Austin Keys is in danger of losing the spot, but just as an example, if you're Austin Keys and you slack off for 2 days and DeMarcus Riddick isn't, could be problems for your job, could be problems for the amount of reps you're going to get. So I think that kind of part of it, just the iron sharpen irons part of it, and bringing in elite talent, young guys. And we talked about it all throughout last year when these guys were committing in this previous class. They all were bought into the message. They all bought into the message of, I need you to turn this around. Don't watch me on Saturday this first year and expect something that's not going to happen. I need you to make what you expect Auburn to be to actually happen. And on the point I made a minute ago, kind of got on that same line of thinking, on like the Malcolm Simmons and Bryce Kane, I don't think any of these guys were sold a dream. Look, they're going to come out and say, we expect to win the SEC championship this year. We want to go to the playoffs, because that's what competitors are supposed to say. But I don't think Hugh Freeze sat down with any of those guys and said, all right, year 2, if we're not competing for the Natty, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's been really realistic with everybody, every recruit, whether they sign with Auburn or not. They all say the same thing about Hugh. They say he shot me straight. So I think all that kind of plays into this culture that we're talking about. We talked about Mike G a couple of weeks ago, and he was adamant that he thinks it is starting to turn around. It's starting to go in the right direction. So for people that are watching this podcast, a year-round podcast, like we haven't stopped, no matter what. We've been talking Auburn football 365, 24/7. So for you guys that watch this that don't have an all season, y'all can follow it, right? Y'all can go back. Y'all watched our episodes last summer, and you could follow it. You can kind of hear, okay, well, we still got some stragglers and things. So you guys that listen to us and Auburn fans in general, that you diehards that are locked in every day, I think you should feel good because you're starting to see it. You're starting to see the little things. You're starting to hear it. And that's all you can do in July, Blake. Like, that's all we can do right now. We can only listen to these things and be optimistic. We all know that once they kick it off, that's when we'll find out if it's all real. But kind of on this culture thing here, going to play this last clip. the question was worded very interesting. But I do like the answer. I do like the answer that Hugh Freeze gave, and kind of just kind of letting you know how he intends to build this program, the direction this program is headed. And I don't know if our guy over there, SEC Mike, he might not like this because Hugh's still focused more on high school than he is the portal. But I'll play this clip for y'all real quick.
Ain't a difference in the world between us and them. They put their pants on like you do. We start playing out of the same deck of cards as they do. We're going to have a lot of fun. I heard a great description of you from a coach at another school. He said, a lot of these coaches during the pandemic became COVID recruiters, texting and Xbox and stuff, not going one-on-one. The guy said, I can assure you Hugh Freeze is sitting on the front porch with mama and the grandmother and talking about life and pot liquor and just life like that. Talk about your philosophy as a coach and building a proud program.
Well, there's no question that's my comfort zone because that's the way I was raised. Me building genuine, authentic relationships is important to me. That last the test of time, and I don't think money can buy that. I mean that is time and investing in people, and being a very imperfect person, but a person of faith. I believe that's what I'm called to do through this coaching profession, and I don't know how to do that without those front porch conversations or them sitting on my back porch at our home in Auburn and them seeing how I interact with Jill and Reagan and Jordan and Madison and now 2 granddaughters and DJ and Hudson and how I interact with our staff. So that is my comfort zone, and it is a family atmosphere at Auburn. I tell people all the time, it's one of the I think last few public universities that has that true essence of faith and family running through it. Now, am I going to have to adjust and do the 24-hour recruiting more? I don't know. We'll see if relational coaching will stand the test of the onslaught of other opportunities that these young men will have. But whoever told you that is absolutely correct, that I'm much more comfortable recruiting a family and a young man and being able to work with them over the course of a few years so that he reaches his potential as a player and as a student and as a man.
Coach will go.
Yeah, so just my quick thoughts on that is just sometimes you want to snap your fingers and you want a quick fix.
Yep.
And maybe it does, maybe it patches the hole for the week, but you didn't actually fix the problem, and eventually that hole starts leaking again. I think Hugh's doing it the right way, man. He stripped this program down, and he's building it from the ground up, and that's just what needed to be done. It's not fun. It's not fun as fans to, especially Auburn fans. When you've seen your team reach the highest mountain, and it's possible, then that starts to become kind of where you measure everything else against. It's like, I know that was a lot of fun. I want to do that again. It's fun. Like, you always find yourself like praying. I did this with my Buccaneers for years. Like, God, if you just give me one Super Bowl, man, if you just give me one, then I promise I'll leave you alone on this one. And then you win it, and you're like, hey, back to back sounds pretty sweet.
Old, man. He was just old.
Yeah, sounds pretty sweet. So it's just we're doing this the right way, Blake. We're doing this the right way. Hugh's got this thing figured out as far as the right way to build it. He knows how to build it. Yeah, Tim, I don't, pot liquor. Someone's going to have to fill me in on exactly what's going on with that. But is that like weed-infused whiskey? I don't know. But listen, man, I think that we're headed in the right direction for sure. And I'm just I think we made the right hire, man. I think that everything Monday through Friday, I think it's going in the right direction. Some mistakes were made last year, but not everything was a mistake last year. A lot of things that were put in motion were the right thing, and I'm going to give Hugh a lot of credit for this, Blake, because I've noticed pretty fast, because he hasn't been here long. I've noticed pretty quickly he'll step up and say, I made a mistake here. I need to fix it. And I think that's admirable. I think our last 2 guys, and, I'm not saying like Gus is not a bad guy or a bad coach or nothing, but Gus, we know he was stubborn, right? Like he'd bang his head against the wall trying to make something work, even when it wasn't going to. And I think Hugh is just realizes, okay, this, hey, my bad, falls on me.
Yep.
Let's pivot. Let's go a different direction. So the way this program is being built, it might not even lead to great results this year, but we stay on course and keep doing it this way, man. We're gonna get back to being Auburn football.
Yeah, so I think you got a coach that understands Auburn, understands the small town vibes, understands how much Auburn football means to the state of Alabama, how much we care about football. Like, people that aren't from the state of Alabama, they ask all the time, like, you guys, you don't really care about the NFL. And me, I don't. Like, I couldn't care less about the National Football League. Do I watch it? Yeah. Do I care who wins? No. Don't care. Never have. What I care about is Auburn University. I care about college athletics. I care about what Auburn looks like as a product on the field. That is what I care about. I think Hugh Freeze understands that with the state of Alabama. Is you got some of this state that cares about the team a couple hours away, and you got some of the state that cares about us. And it's the biggest rivalry in sports. I'm tired of hearing about the Red River Shootout or the Red River rivalry or whatever, or the Red River game or whatever you want to freaking call it. It ain't as big as what we got in this state. And that's what Hugh Freeze cares about. And when he talks about sitting out on the back porch with his family, he can relate to how people live here in the state of Alabama, in the state of Mississippi, in Florida, in Georgia, because we're just some small southern town folks that like to hang out, barbecue a little bit on the back porch, have a couple drinks, enjoy a nice Alabama southeast sunset. That's what we like to do. And we like to talk about college football and college basketball and college baseball. That's what we care about. Hugh Freeze gets it. He said, hey, I'm not even the best portal recruiter. I got to get better. He's like, I'm trying to get there, but I just haven't found that portal recruiting just yet. I like to do it through high school. And you got a guy that gets it. He understands it, man. And so, look, let him keep growing. Let him keep getting better. He's told you right now. He told you last year we weren't good. He told you this year I needed to make a change. I needed to get this coaching staff right. So, yeah, he has been straight up with us, Dustin. He's been honest. He's been open. He hasn't just stood at a mic and said, hey, it's his fault, his fault, his fault, his fault, but it's never my fault. He also didn't stand at a mic and say, hey, we had a great week of practice this week. We had a great week of practice. Because
never had a bad week of practice in 9 years, brother.
Never had a bad week of practice, all right? Had a great week of practice, but with one of your greatest rosters in Auburn history, you blew a 20-point lead in Baton Rouge, and I don't, but hey, it was a great week of practice. All right, it was a great week of practice. And the next week was also a great week of practice, and Hugh Freeze does not do that. So it's nice to have a coach that will let you know the truth. And look, we're gonna move in the right direction. We've been in a dark hole. We're gonna get better. It's almost here, 40-something days away. I can feel it starting to get chills just thinking about Auburn running out of that smoke at Jordan-Hare Stadium. I don't give a damn if it's against Alabama A&M or the next 4 weeks. I don't care who it's against. We get to experience one of the greatest atmospheres in college football, man. And look, we're not going to be down long. We're going to get back. We're going to have excitement. We're not going to have people on Twitter or Instagram talking trash about us much longer, or other fan bases thinking that they're on the same damn level as we are when we hold a 40-game lead over them in the all-time series, and they want to talk trash and want to talk down on us. We're not going to be down much longer, folks.
Yeah, for sure. Got a little bit of clarification in the comment section. Tim asking what the pot liquor is. James says pot liquor is the liquid left over after cooking greens. Well, James, appreciate you, big dog. I don't eat greens, so I'm not a greens guy, bro. I'm not a greens guy.
Boy, get me.
Bro.
Hey, let me tell you
smoke
something.
Greens, I don't eat it.
Hey, let me tell you, get you some pepper sauce and some Louisiana hot sauce, and give me all the greens, bro. Man, I love them. I eat them for days. God, they're so good.
Well, why don't you get you some of that pot liquor, put it in a little cup and sip on it. Show me something, big dog. Devin's sticking up for you in the comments. Says, don't mistake Blake saying we got to show it on the field for him not being positive and hopeful. We're all excited for last year, and we were all also disappointed. It's okay to temper excitement. We appreciate you, Devin, long-time listener. You know the vibes here. We're always going to support our Auburn Tigers, but we're also not going to come here and say 12-0, undefeated. You can go listen to somebody else if you want to go.
Yeah, and look, I'm not. I'm just saying it can't be like that again this year. You can't show the same thing that you showed last year. Do I think it'll be like that? No. That's why we always talk about Hugh Freeze making the improvements, bringing in coaches that he believes in, and things like that. Like, you can't have your fan base show up to a bowl game and you get blitzed by Maryland. That is what I mean. You can't get blitzed by New Mexico State at home. I am excited about Auburn football. I love Auburn football. Auburn football can go 0-12, and I will hit the clock tomorrow morning amongst a bunch of Alabama fans, and I will sit there and argue with every single one of them about how Auburn is better than Alabama. I will go to the end of the earth to let them know, hey, I'm diehard orange and blue, and I'm going to let you know it. We might be 3-9. But I'm still going to show up every Saturday because we'll be playing at 11 a.m. because we're trash. And I'll be letting you know, just like I did in 2012, that we're the best damn football team in the country. And that's how I feel about Auburn. All I'm saying is you can't let happen what went on last year. Look, because you were 6-4. You at least, when that happened, you at least thought, hey, we're going to beat the piss out of New Mexico State. And then something's going to happen in the Iron Bowl. We don't know what, but there's voodoo all over that game in Jordan-Hare. And then you see the outcome of what happened, and you say, damn, man, like, we really should have went 8-4 in year one. If you go 8-4 in year one with how bad that looked on the field, remember, you only lost a 7-point game to Ole Miss in Jordan-Hare. So Georgia, that's another one. So you go back and look at all that, and you're saying, man, like, it was there. It was there for the taking. It can't happen again. And now Hugh's saying that our roster is improved. Yeah, that means we're confident. You got up in front of the whole conference and said, hey, we got better players. We got better players. So let's go get it done. I think that's the route we're taking. We want to look better on the field. It doesn't want to be a disaster, because you knew against Texas A&M last year from the very first snap after it happened, hey, what the hell is going on? We had all week, and this is what we do. This is what we do, because they weren't good. They were not good. And they cakewalked us because of what? We weren't ready. We looked terrible on offense. Awful. So it can't be like that again this year.
Yeah. Anybody with a brain understands what you're saying, Blake, and I think everybody agrees with you. Listen, man, we are right here on the door. 2,000 subs. We would like to get there before the season kicks off. Please do that. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Hit that thumbs up button. Share this link out on social media. Me and Blake will be back Tuesday night. Like I told you guys at the beginning, apologies to our members for nothing coming out last week. We had that copyright issue with YouTube. Not even sure why it happened, but we're going to pivot. Still got a whole bunch of stuff lined up, playing for you guys, so be on the lookout for that coming up this week. High school football starting up very soon, man. I cannot wait for them Friday night lights. Hear that band playing, dude. I cannot wait, man. Get that smell of burgers and boiled peanuts in the air. It's going to be a good time. Me and Blake will be covering the Auburn recruiting class, going to high school games for you guys. So, man, join, become a member of that varsity squad, that JV squad. Join what we got going on here at the Up Tempo podcast. Madison says, Dustin, let's go get you some of them greens and cornbread. Madison, I'll tear the cornbread up, baby. I will tear the cornbread up. Bring me all the cornbread. But I tell you, I don't have the best eating habits in the world. If it's good for you, I probably don't like the way it tastes, bro. That's just I still eat like a little kid. My apologies.
I'll let you slide.
All right, y'all. Listen, man. Good stuff tonight, or good this morning. We will be back, though, Tuesday night, 7 p.m., talking some more Auburn football. This podcast is about to get cranked back up, baby. Yep. The dead period is almost over. War Damn Eagle. Blake, you got anything before we get out of here?
War Damn. Let's show up. We're only a month away. And, hey, Alabama A&M, like I said, I don't give a piss who it is. Let's go in there. Let's make Jordan-Hare the best environment. Let's show EA Sports that 14th is too low. We're better than that. We know it. They know it. And, hey, it's Jordan-Hare Stadium time. It's a Saturday on the Plains time. Thank y'all for being with us. We appreciate you, War Damn Eagle.
Yes, sir. War Damn, we're out. We'll catch y'all Tuesday night, 7 p.m.